mark my words, I will take Coach Greg through a leg workout and you will like it.
I am scared. It can't be good. It's going to be hard. Coach Greg, and I'm here with Eric Janicki. I said his name right. We're going over the best exercises to do for your body parts. We're giving them A, B, C, D, or F ratings. And so stay tuned. We are going to have different opinions. Am I right? Is he right? We'll let you decide. You ready?
Let's do this.
Let's get started.
The number one exercise we are going to be talking about for building your quads is barbell back squats.
The squat. All right, I'll start.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a B. And I think it's a great exercise for doing it for your quads. Now, I wanted to give it an A, but people can't all do this exercise. You can actually get injured. Some people are just born in different anatomies than others, and it's hard for them to perform the squat. They get injured. For me personally, I can't squat because of my hip. I was born with FAI syndrome. It's not something I can do. But if you can do it and you like it, you certainly should do it. I'm giving it a B.
All right, barbell back squat. I'm giving it a B minus. I think it's a great exercise. I think there's a few variants that we can utilize to get more quad drive, more quad flexion than a traditional barbell back squat. The reason I'm not giving barbell back squat an A on its own is that risk reward factor. Barbell back squat is another one of those kind of like big three exercises that you're going to tend to want to go heavier and heavier on so you can tell your friends you squat 500 pounds. That's not going to help you build up the volume in your quads. So I'm going to give you guys a couple tips to make this into an A exercise. Number one, go from barbell to Smith machine. That's going to allow you a lot more control on this movement pattern because you don't have to worry about the bar moving front to back. You can actually lean back into the bar, get a lot more safely into the hole. And even if you fail, you can rack the weight a lot more safely than a barbell back squat. The other big thing I would do is to elevate the heels. What we want to do is maximize quad flexion, so knee flexion and quad stretch. So if we can elevate the heels, it more easily allows a lot of people with even a lot of hip tightness to get deeper in their rep just because of those ergonomics of that movement pattern. So I would say move to the Smith, elevate the heels on, let's say, blocks or plates. That's going to allow us to get a lot more knee flexion, quad stretch, and a lot more stretch mediated hypertrophy, increase the time under tension, and I'm going to move this up to an A plus exercise.
So it sounds like don't ego lift and squat like Chris Bumstead, because Chris doesn't do the regular squats. He says, I like the Smith machine. People make fun of him. Yeah. He's the Mr. Olympia champion. So he's saying squat more like Chris and don't ego lift and you're good to go.
Number two exercise, we have the hack squat.
Hack squat. I'm going to have to give this one an A. I think the hack squat is easier to do for most people. The machine is set, so you don't have to worry about your form as much. It's less strain on the lower back. I can even do this exercise, and so I'm giving this one an A.
Yep, I'm going to give the hack squat an A. And the reason is the same as Greg. We can more safely get into that super deep position. It takes pressure off the lower back. It's a very low risk exercise as compared to, let's say, a barbell back squat where a lot of things can go wrong. And I think that it really allows us to easily milk that stretch position. I cannot stress this enough, guys. If you guys want to grow your quads, make sure you are utilizing full range of motion, getting super deep into that rep, which is going to increase that knee flexion, which is what we're looking for, maximizing that stretch mediated hypertrophy. So when you do your hack squats, do this for me. Go slow on the down, pause at the bottom for 1 to 2 seconds, which is going to increase that time and tension to the bottom of the rep where your quads are under the most amount of stress, and then drive out. You can drive out hard on that concentric, but slow down on that eccentric, pause at the bottom. It's going to pay dividends for your quad growth.
And getting rid of that, by pausing at the bottom, getting rid of the stretch reflex, it's actually making your legs work a lot harder and more safely because you're not able to lift quite as heavy a weight. So that eliminates the ego lifting. And he's saying go slower on the way down, then the way up. And so one question, how deep are we supposed to go? You're saying go deep, but below parallel, to parallel, what is your recommendation?
I think the long answer to that is whatever you're comfortable with. So if you're getting knee pain when going below 90, I think first of all, lower the weight and see if that helps you and work on your mobility. But the short answer is as deep as possible, because if you can lighten the weight and focus more on that range of motion and that knee flexion, you're going to get more out of the movement pattern than going to 90 degrees with a lot of heavy weight, because you're actually going to get more glute drive from going just to 90, because you're going to drive through your heels. Whereas if you get super deep in that rep, that mechanical change is going to move the impetus a lot from your glutes into your quads in that fully stretched position.
I also find this exercise great if you can use bands. So you're a lot stronger at the top than you are at the bottom. If you can add bands, it's certainly going to change your training.
Yeah, I mean, bands, the one thing to recognize, though, is going to actually reduce the amount of force at the point where you're actually putting the most impetus on your quads. So when you do band assisted, sure, it's great because it allows you to maybe milk that pause for a little longer. But I would start by lessening the weight. And actually, the other way you could do it is actually reverse band it. But I would say it's not a bad thing to do, especially if you're feeling, let's say, knee pain towards the bottom of the rep. It can sometimes alleviate some of that force. But I would say just start by lessening the weight, pausing at the bottom. A lot of times that will rectify the issue.
And for me, never had knee pain doing this, hip pain. But obviously I had the surgery in the hip. I can't go to parallel, so I was curious to see what he's going to say. He says, go as low as comfortable. Used to be able to go deep. Now I can't. It's not safe for me. So I'll still do these exercises, but I go maybe 3/4 of the way down. But remember, however far you can go, then do that. You don't have to go below parallel. You're still going to make gains if you go halfway down.
Yeah, and I would say too, Greg, if I were you, and like, take this with a grain of salt, but what I would do is try to go super light for a little bit, let the knees drive out, open up the hips. And I know you have this hip issue. What I found is even with people with a hip issue or impingement or something like that, by going lighter and actually sitting deeper into the rep, it's almost therapeutic in that sense of like you're almost opening up as you do the exercise. So just food for thought. Might as well try it out. Maybe go just like literally just the weight of the hack squat for a few reps.
Just to stretch out
first, and then work into your working sets.
Sounds good.
The Bulgarian split squat is our next exercise for quad growth.
I hate to say it, but I'm giving it a D because I hate it. And I'm biased because I absolutely hate it. I hate doing one leg at a time. And I knew he was going to give it a good rating. I hate it. And so remember what I said? If you don't like an exercise, you shouldn't do it. Whether it's an A+ exercise, if you don't like it, I despise it. I think about it. I don't want to do it. My hip doesn't like it. I avoid it. It's a D for me.
We were off to such a...
I hurt his feelings. Like him saying my French toast doesn't taste good. It would be the same feeling.
We were off to such a good start in this friendship. And yeah, it's tough. Everybody hates the Bulgarian split squat. I get it, Greg. I get it. Everybody hates it. This is an A exercise for me, guys. This
I knew he was going to give it an A.
Is literally such an amazing bodybuilding movement. It encompasses glutes, hamstrings, quads. I would say the reason I give this an A is because of the slight adjustments I make to this exercise. I like to do this two ways, either dumbbell or on the Smith machine in a deficit. So I'll put my front foot up on a box, which allows me to actually get deeper in the rep. And I also, for quad focus, I'm going to move that foot closer to the bench so that I get even more. We talked about knee flexion a lot. So if I get more knee flexion, more quad stretch, I'm going to induce more hypertrophy in the quad specifically. If I move that foot out farther away, we're going to get a little bit more glute and hamstring engagement on that front leg. So that's what I would say for you guys. To make this into an A exercise for you, lighten up the weight. Let's say use the Smith machine, put the back foot on the bench. The other big mistake that people make with Bulgarians is they go on their toe, go flat on that back foot. Work on that mobility so that you can actually just go flat on the top of your foot as opposed to trying to pin your toe into the bench. It's like literally impossible to make that successful. So do that. Also put your front foot up, which is going to allow for more range of motion, more stretch to that front leg specifically. And it's going to just destroy your quads, destroy your glutes, even get a little hamstring engagement. I think it's one of the kings of hypertrophic exercises with a relatively low risk factor, and you get the ancillary benefit of opening up your hips and feeling more athletic by doing this movement.
I was confident you were going to give it an A. Having trained with him yesterday, we did upper body. I knew this would be one of his exercises he'd love, but I just don't like it. If you don't like something, are you going to do it? So if I hired him to coach me and he says, oh, it's Bulgarian, I'm like, yeah, I'm skipping leg day today. And so I'd have no growth. I have to like what I'm doing. I do the basics.
Fair. And to be honest, I am grading these exercises with a little bit of bias always, but I'm really trying to take myself out of it just because there's some exercise on here that I've actually graded higher than maybe I don't really love them that much, but I'm not really trying to rate them based on my bias. Is more on for you guys what is going to give you the best bang for buck in terms of hypertrophic effect and keep you as safe as possible for the long run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry.
Whereas Greg's like, fuck that. I am rating these based on whether I like them or not. All right, last exercise we have for quad growth is walking lunges. We can be doing weighted, dumbbell, back loaded, like with a barbell. Like, let's see what you think about the walking lunge.
He's not gonna like this. A D. It's another D. I hate this exercise. I can't do it. It's annoying. It hurts me. If I had to do Bulgarian split squats and lunges every day, I ain't training legs. I'd rather go on the bicycle.
All right.
I hate it.
I
think I hate this one worse. This is worse for me.
Greg is using very science-based terminology here. Hatred.
Despise, dislike, annoyed,
won't go to the gym because of it. So
I'm out. I'm tuned out. I'm not doing it.
So I'm going to rate the dumbbell or barbell or just bodyweight walking lunge a B+. And the reason I'm not rating it an A is just because of the fact that it doesn't provide that same isolation and constant tension and the range of motion that, say, like a deficit Bulgarian split squat would. But it does provide for a lot of growth because usually you put these towards the end of your workout. Most guys do. Some guys warm up with them. I think it's a crazy good way to drive hypertrophy at the end of your training session. There's so much blood flow, and then you just do walking lunges. What I would recommend is going right into
barbell or dumbbell. What are we doing?
I prefer like the preset barbell, just because it forces me to keep my chest open, and it's just it doesn't pull my shoulders down as much as like a dumbbell walking lunge would. What I would suggest is go from one step right into the next. What that's going to provide is constant tension, as opposed to down and then dunk it and then stop at the between your right leg and your left leg. That's going to completely eliminate tension on your quads. But if you can stay almost don't go all the way to the top and just go right into your next step, right leg, left leg. And so that's going to provide constant tension through your quads, also for your glutes as well. Great finisher to finish off quads and completely annihilate them at the end of your session.
If I did a leg workout with this guy, I wouldn't be walking the next day. These two exercises destroy me. I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to get on the bike the next day.
One of these days, I'm going to take Coach Greg through a leg workout, and I think he's actually going to like it so much more.
Oh, man.
It's going to open up his body. It's actually going to help him with his racing. It's not going to be this trip, but mark my words, I will take Coach Greg through a leg workout, and you will like it.
I am scared. It can't be good. It's going to be hard. All right. Hope you learned something. And then don't forget, please go subscribe to Eric Janicki. You can follow him on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. He's hilarious, highly intelligent. Look at the size of this guy. So please go and check him out. Got to get him over 1 million followers. Check it out. Subscribe right now.